Even though my father was an engineer, my understanding of engineering was largely informed by pop culture, the stereotype.
What is it?
I'm afraid your son has the knack.
The knack?
The knack. It's a rare condition characterized by an extreme intuition about all things mechanical and electrical, and utter social ineptitude.
Can he lead a normal life?
No. He'll be an engineer.
No!
The lone voice of
There.
reason against
Don't blame
impending
yourself.
doom.
Well, it won't hold. I won't build it. It's that simple. I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. Thank you, John.
Jack Goodell, an engineer who knows too much to tell the truth and cares too much to lie.
Or the people who make the difference between a life-saving victory like Apollo 13
Okay, people, listen up. People upstairs handed us this one, and we gotta come through. We gotta find a way to make this fit into the hole for this, using nothing but that.
and a tragic disaster like the Challenger explosion.
Launch. My God.
1 minute 15.
There's been an explosion.
Velocity 2,900 feet per second. Altitude 9 nautical miles. Downrange distance 7 nautical miles.
This is not standard. This is not something that is planned, of course.
But engineering isn't just critical to averting disasters like Chernobyl or the Hyatt Regency collapse.
Good evening. What was yesterday a modern miracle of architecture is today the rubble in the lobby of Kansas City's Hyatt Regency Hotel.
And it isn't up to just the pros to toe the line between the success and failure of our society. Engineering is critical to our society, from the individual level of being a savvy consumer in a world of constant technological change to the larger task of ensuring the informed and critical voter base that a functioning democracy demands. Engineering designs which can meet the needs of an ever more diverse population can only effectively grow out of a diverse workforce in the field. Unfortunately, the Department of Labor reports that the field of engineering is far from diverse. Changing that requires a multifaceted approach, but great strides can be made in the classroom. Just as popular culture informed my ideas about engineering, it still influences people today. That's why it's important to make visible a diverse range of people working in engineering. Students not only need to see images that look like themselves in movies, books, and posters, they need to have interactions with people working in the engineering field. Opportunities for students to interact with engineering students and engineers is an important part of making engineering accessible to young people. Students should also be exposed to activities and events that will pique their interest and cultivate a love for engineering. This can be achieved through classroom work that focuses on hands-on activities, problem solving, and process-based projects. Additional opportunities can be developed through festivals and special events. As we pursue all of these, we must be careful to align our activities and curriculum with the current messaging to avoid leaving students feeling disappointed or deceived by what they might view as false promises. For example, if you sell engineering as a creative endeavor, then offer creative activities. There are many changes schools could make to encourage engineering. Of course, restructuring and funding to free teachers from restrictive time and money restraints would be ideal. However, the key to changing the face of engineering is to change the mindset of the teachers working with students. Teachers must be enthusiastic, creative advocates of engineering in their classrooms, and they must model the engineering process as well as creativity and problem solving daily. This change doesn't cost anything, but it's probably the most impactful change possible. Part of the focus on engineering would certainly be fostering familiarity with the engineering design process. While the steps of the process vary slightly according to various resources, the process always includes identifying the problem, generating ideas about how to solve the problem or meet the needs of the problem, planning or designing, then building the design, and then refining your design. It's important to make a distinction between the engineering design process, which is used to solve a problem, and the scientific process, which is used to answer a question. Where the scientific process provides a means of explaining a phenomenon, the engineering process provides the means to design and build something. Projects which incorporate the engineering process can be inexpensive and easy to find. One resource is MakerCamp, which is developed and maintained by Make Magazine. Maker Camp hosts free online camps regularly. You can sign up for the newsletter as well as educational updates for free, and you can access all of their projects and materials online. They no longer have an easy-to-navigate archive of past camps as they once did, but those can still be located and explored on YouTube. What I like about the Maker Camps available is that they give some basic guidelines and ideas, but allow a lot of freedom for individualization of projects and opportunities to build on ideas, also to refine the projects that students are making. Additionally, I feel like their videos and virtual field trips are good at focusing on a diverse community and open exchange of ideas. I chose to use an engineering activity with my Odyssey of the Mind group, which is a mixed group of 3rd through 5th graders. I chose this group because it's the largest group of elementary students I work with at 7 students. For the activity, students were directed to build a structure using limited materials that would hold marbles at some distance above the table. Students had to complete their project within the given time frame, which was 5 minutes. I instructed the students that they would receive 10 points for every inch above the table the marbles were held, and 2 points for every marble held.
So it's like a basket. We need like a base. Yeah, to hold them up. But then all of these will break more. One of these. No, these will fall. These will fall. And since we don't have tape. We don't have tape, so we have to. Wait, I know we couldn't tie them together with one of these. Oh, yeah, but we still have another one. And then we could wrap that one around the top and put this. That wouldn't be very helpful.
Odyssey of the Mind is a program that implements engineering heavily, but I haven't really introduced the engineering process to my teams ever. In this case, after the project was complete, I introduced the process, and we discussed how students had used the engineering process as they tried to meet the demands of the activity. Of course, they were forced to use a limited amount of materials. Those restraints prompted creativity. In addition, students were able to point to specific moments during their project that they brainstormed, planned, implemented, and refined their ideas. For a larger scale project, I chose to make egg safety racers, a project which I found and adapted from the Instructables website. I planned for my project to take 1 week, basically devoting 1 day to each major step of the engineering process. On the first day, we would introduce or review the engineering process. Next, students would work to identify the problem, using the restraints provided by the teacher. And finally, they would brainstorm ideas and choose one that they would proceed with throughout the week. On the second day, after reviewing the engineering process, students would work on planning. This would entail completing a schedule, which would include main goals for each day, materials needed, and the jobs that each team member would perform. Students would also draw a picture of their design. Finally, on day 2, students would purchase materials with their imaginary budget of $10. While the original Instructables recommended not making soft materials like cotton or bubble wrap available to students, I chose to make them available, but priced them in such a way that they were almost prohibitively expensive. This way, students would be forced to make some kind of a trade-off. Day 3 would be devoted to actually constructing the vehicle. On day 4, students would have access to the ramp. They would be able to test their vehicle and refine it. They would also be able to purchase new materials from the store in order to do this. On Friday, students bring their vehicle to the final test, where it will be evaluated for both speed and how well it protects the egg. After the evaluation, students would be asked to do a reflection over the entire project. In the project, students define their project based on 2 specific needs: the need for the vehicle to go fast and the need for the egg to be protected. They generate multiple ideas about that, choose one to pursue, and then after implementing their design, they go back, they refine it, they look for flaws, they look for ways to improve their designs. So they're able to carry out those tests in the classroom on the 4th day, and that help direct their engineering